Well, the potential metaphors and analogies are as limitless as the cosmos, but the sun god power assumptions taken by numerous state and county level politicians in preparation for the great solar eclipse not only reveal true stellar conceit, they shine light on the ridiculous and unconstitutional aid money grab, always tied to declarations of emergency and disaster. They also reveal a deeply troubling fact about how many politicians seem to think it's the role of government to act as mother hen, because government has, of course, slid into so many aspects of what should be private, consensual affairs and assessments. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. You know, along the path of the full solar eclipse, American political parasites are taking advantage of that momentary darkness in the sky. In Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine, a Republican, wink wink, a man who seemed to see no lockdown or tax-funded enticement that he didn't like, well, he's announced from Mount Olympus, aka the governor's office, that he's declared a state of emergency to, as he says, ensure that everyone has a great day. In Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, a Republican, has declared a state of emergency until April 10th, ordering the Response and Recovery Fund to give her Division of Emergency Management $100,000. Because we want to make sure Arkansans and all visitors have an enjoyable experience and come back again and again. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb, a Republican, March 26th issued a similar state of emergency that will last through 11:59 p.m. on April 9th. And numerous other politicians and even judges in Texas counties and cities have done the same. Sure is nice to see how kind they want to be to tourists, given that, as if in chorus, these politically powered players declare the influx of hundreds of thousands of eclipse watchers as an unusual occurrence that could require more policing on roads, managing of traffic, and visits to their tax-funded parks. But that presents a long-standing philosophical question that many contemporary Americans often avoid. It's the question of whether politicians or anyone can assume for others that they can take their money and spend it on things those citizens, if left free, might not have chosen. The immorality of taking the cash is actually the stopping point. But if one would like to explore the matter along other vectors, one can lay out the vast array of so-called public services so many Americans now assume are part of the political world, and then ask whether the so-called services are something that can be or were provided by the private market. Certainly, privately owned theme parks see tens of thousands or perhaps hundreds of thousands of people visiting every day or every few days. Music festivals see the same. They have no right to demand payments for security from people across the state, people who never attend these events or never ask for entrance into the parks. Practically, in fact, if you look at it, the idea of scalability and management then come into play. Private market incentives for recognizing costs and benefits always reveal what levels of manpower and other resources are beneficial for private gatherings, but government assumptions of those responsibilities smother the cost-benefit signals. In fact, because government actions don't rely on voluntary participation for payment, they logically cannot be claimed to promote any real benefit. If people are forced to pay, then their power to judge quality is canceled by the state. Many people don't want to be roped into this event, this eclipse event. They shouldn't have to pay for others to have an enjoyable experience. And by making them pay, the state removes any way to measure the efficacy of its crowd management/policing system. Does the government spend too much on that? Too little on that? You can't ask those questions or withhold your money when the politicians assume that they can take it from you for any reason, including what they call an emergency. But of course, it actually goes deeper, because many people might argue that the state has to manage roads. So they might think that an influx of tourists on the government-run roads throws a magic switch, such that the government must tax everyone to handle the new circumstances on those roads. But not everyone uses the roads, nor does everyone use the roads to the same degree or for similar purposes. And to assume that government in America historically always has built and run the roads is tragically erroneous. As Thomas DiLorenzo noted in his book, How Capitalism Saved America, and as I've noted here for MRC TV, in both Europe and America, roads were started and managed privately, long before government got involved, started taking land via eminent domain, then mismanaging the roads even as it sent police onto them to pretend they could breach the Fourth Amendment and search our cars without warrants. This is all factual, on-the-ground history, to offer a mild pun, and history already has answered the question of whether private parties can and will build pathways on which people can travel to reach others. If government were the only thing that could facilitate our interest in traveling to visit others or visit stores, how in the world could stores have made access lanes and parking lots? How could they have managed them without taxing people and do better jobs at maintenance than government? That's valuable grist for the mental mill. But one more item might give us some perspective on this fraudulent emergency fad casting its shadow on so many halls of government. It's what you might have guessed, everybody. By declaring these emergencies, the politicians, they get to siphon cash away from people in other states via, of course, unconstitutional federal so-called aid. As Kaylee Gleason reports for Forbes, quote, state of emergency declarations can trigger several potential means of assistance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, including individual assistance for small businesses and households, as well as public assistance programs for road systems, public facilities, and other emergency protective measures. On county and city levels, such declarations allow local officials to get assistance from state emergency management agencies, but local and state governments can directly request assistance from the federal government if needed, including asking the president to declare a major disaster, according to FEMA. Another eclipse of the U.S. Constitution. It's another opportunity for some to live at the expense of others. Perhaps when the light returns, some of the mother hens and paternalists in politics can read the Constitution under that light. Perhaps they can look at history and stop this kind of parasitic behavior. It's doubtful, but perhaps a widespread recognition of ethics and the golden rule might arise before the next emergency eclipse. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on Rumble, where they don't censor us. Thank you again, Rumble team. Really appreciate it. And share the videos often. If you get the opportunity, send them to friends, loved ones, coworkers, that sort of thing. And check them out. You can also find us on YouTube, of course, where they do censor us. And do visit MRCTV.org, MRCTV.org, to find out what the whole team is doing there. While you're there, please consider donating to the Media Research Center and check out the MRC Store. It's excellent. And of course, we'll see you on TikTok and Instagram, and on Gab. I'm at Gardner Goldsmith on Gab, and on Twitter/X, I'm at Gard Goldsmith, And of course, check out the stream of great posts at X by MRCTV. For MRCTV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.
I want to invite you as my guest on a very special, once-in-a-lifetime, 7-day post-election cruise in the Caribbean. It's going to be a blast.